everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 26 and today we are starting things off very hungry and also very low on health. I've actually totally run out of food, so I'm going to have to make my way over to the shopping district because I don't have a chicken farm anymore as it was causing too much lag. So I'm actually going to have to buy myself some food. That just feels wrong. Now, originally I was going to buy chicken, but you know what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Golden carrots seem like a good way to go. How much do they actually refill? Oh. Not that much. They're exactly like chicken. Anyway, aside from that disappointment, in today's Hermitcraft episode, we're going to be continuing work on our super smelter project that we started in the previous episode. So here is our super smelter, which this is super smelting the kelp, which is then going to make its way into a storage system. We're then going to craft it into kelp blocks, and then they are going to be split up. Half of the kelp blocks are going to be used as fuel for this super smelter, so the kelp is kind of going to be fueling itself. And then the other half is going to be going into another super smelter that we're going to be building today, which is going to be for our average everyday items. Now, the first thing that I've actually got to do is I've got to change up our item kind of holding system. So you put in a system that holds the items until we get 23, and then those 23 move through the system just to make sure that things are efficient and we're making the most of the super smelter. But the issue is that there's too much delay between each batch, which means that we're using way too much fuel. So instead, I'm going to create a bigger batch load, probably a double chest. Or maybe just a single. I think a single chest is probably enough. I'm finding it kind of difficult to suss this one out. It's all become a bit of a mess. I think I need to detect. Oh no, see, that's not going to work. This is difficult. Right, let's find out if this new modified design, which is a real mess, actually functions. I really don't know. If we place those in there, that's good. That's what we wanted to see, because we have more kelp in this chest than we have in this chest. I'm hoping that when this gets towards full, that's when the system will actually begin to activate and do something. So I guess this is the real moment of truth. If we start placing these in. Okay, I guess this has to be really, really full. I need more kelp. But before we do anything, we have another one of these guys, and oh my word, he's close to killing me again. I'm gonna die from a trident again. I so want one of these. Come on. Yeah! Dude, it looked like he dropped one. What the heck? He did drop one! Oh my word! We got a trident! We got a trident! Yes! Right, so I've just done some looking into the Trident Enchantments, and Impaling 5 is what I want, so we've got Impaling 5 there. I think Loyalty apparently is mutually exclusive to Riptide, which I don't know what Riptide does. Oh yeah, of course, so Riptide is what Rendog had on his thingamajig the other day, so it launches you alongside the Trident, which means that, of course, Loyalty doesn't make any sense because the Trident never leaves your hand. So, I've between Biffa's shop and also iTrader, I've spent a ton of diamonds. I'm poor again. But I have got Impaling 5, we've got Unbreaking 3, we've got Riptide 3, and we have Mending. So, that should be enough to sort us and give us a wicked, wicked trident. Okay, I've officially spent all of my diamonds, but I do have access to this rather lovely room, and this is where we're going to be doing our enchanting. So I guess Mending goes on first, or do you put the numbers on first? I think you put the numbers on first. So yeah, Impaling 5, that seems expensive. Okay. Riptide 3. Yeah. Unbreaking 3 is going to cost 7, and then we'll put Mending on at the end, and we're done. Perfect. Now it's mine. And go! Okay, I need to do some practice in there. I think that worked. So, I'm guessing I can't use it out the water to fire at things. I can only use it while in the water to actually shoot stuff. But apparently it's got quite powerful melee, so does this mean I don't need my sword anymore? Is my sword now replaced with a trident? I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section. I'm totally new to this. Okay, I've got someone to try it out on. 3 hits? That's not good. I don't want to have to hit something 3 times. Anyway, after that massive distraction, I've come back over, I've tested it, and it doesn't actually work. The logic doesn't quite work out because this hopper right here, it sends the items too fast. It just sends them through too quickly and the comparator doesn't pick it up, which means the system doesn't actually function. So it's time to go back to the drawing board. Good news, I've got half of the system working effectively, but I haven't quite managed to get the other half working effectively. So I'm going to try it out again. If we dump... Oh, no, that's the wrong chest to be taking things out of. It's this one over here. So if we dump a handful of stacks of kelp into this thing, I think it's just over half the double chest is required to actually get the circuit into action. And then we should see the items will begin to be removed. Okay, so that's all good. We had a slight pause, but now it's back to working. So if we had kelp flowing in from this area over here, that should now be locked. That will stay inside that hopper there. And then if we artificially remove kelp, let's say they've dropped into the system, so that's what's happening here, and I'm placing those back in this chest. Hopefully what we should see is that gradually, as those items decrease, it should empty out. And then it should begin to refill. There we go. That's good. It's working. Okay, so I've managed to sort that one out. Finally. That's taken a very long time. This may be a terrible idea, but I think I'm just going to test it by literally just testing it. All of the items are now flowing in. We've got dried kelp, which is smelting everything, so that's doing the trick. And that's all being outputted into this chest right here. And I love how fast this thing is. Look, you'll get it in a batch. It just comes through. I mean, you couldn't hope for it to be quicker. I've been doing a little bit more thinking about how this should work. We might end up changing this entire system later on in the episode, but anyway, I think we should move on from this for the time being, and we should crack on with building our second super smelter. The other one, the one that's actually important, and is going to be smelting our items. So let's get to it. So I guess you guys probably know the drill already by now. First things first, we need to place in all of the hoppers, which that should actually do the trick. And then we need to place in all of the redstone, which is going to be powering this thing. And I have run out of dried kelp blocks, but we've got a decent amount of dried kelp there. I literally don't have enough stone to make repeaters, so of course I'm out stone mining once again. I've been using fortune recently because I ran out of cobblestone the other day, and now I have loads of cobblestone, but I'm completely out of stone. I guess that's just the way these things work. Oh, and without thinking, I just transformed all of the stone that I just mined into slabs. I don't know why I did this. I mean, it's not much snow. It's not much stone. It's not a big deal, but still, it's just frustrating. Anyway, that is most of the redstone in place. So we've got all of the top section. We've got all of the middle section right here. And now, once again, just like the previous episode of Hermitcraft, I'm working on the new section, which I don't fully understand. Still don't fully understand it, but it's important and it's in here. So this redstone is powering these hoppers. And then this line is just running right the way across the bottom here. Almost done. This thing looks absolutely crazy. The double setup looks wicked, especially because of the way that they're staggered. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this setup right here. Alright, now that we've actually got it working, I've been trying my best to work out how we're going to be splitting up these items. So this chest here is the items that we actually want to smelt. Then this chest here is going to be for the kelp blocks, and half of the kelp blocks are going to be dropping in here, and then the other half, I guess, will make their way across into this hopper line, which is the fueling system for the other super smelter. So then the kelp blocks that we put in there, half of them will go in there, half of them will be used to fuel the smelting of more kelp, and then the output of this super smelter, which will be our dried kelp to create the fuel, will come out somewhere over here, so then we can use that, craft up the kelp blocks and put it inside here. And then we put our items in there. Okay, I think I've just about got it. It's another expensive episode, ladies and gentlemen. I think pretty much are all these diamonds mine? I feel like these are all my diamonds. I can't help but notice that none of the dried kelp blocks that I put into the system... So we have them all in here, but none of them seem to be in this part of the system. None of the furnaces have them in there. I don't know if that's an issue with the redstone, or maybe I've just put a hopper facing in the wrong direction. I'm not 100% certain, but it seems very odd. I found the items. I don't understand how they're getting there, though. So look, this hopper is powered, okay? It shouldn't be moving items around. And yet they end up there. That redstone dot is powering that hopper. They shouldn't be able to get in there. So, I have no clue. And when I broke the redstone dust and then replaced it, it stopped the items from, well, it stopped the items from all traveling in there, but they no longer, they don't go into the furnace. It's really, really weird. And when I broke the redstone and replaced it again, it worked. So if anyone has any ideas why that was, please let me know down in the comment section. But now everything is being evenly dispersed perfectly between all of the furnaces, which is fantastic. So now I think we have a working system, but there is one thing that I want to do, and that is I want to redo this area here. Believe it or not, I'm still not happy with this system. Now, my idea for it is actually quite simple. What I want to do is I want to make it so that kelp can only come out of this thing and go into the furnace smelter when there are items that are being put into the super smelter. So essentially, when we put items into the super smelter, this thing will then go, okay, we're probably going to need more fuel soon. So then it will start dropping kelp into the system, and that's when it will flow through into there, which means that we're going to have to create some form of bulk kelp storage system. I guess we could probably do that here, because we're never going to need access to the chests. And then in that bulk kelp storage system, we will then have to have a comparator line which goes from the chest, the input chest, to this super smelter, across into the hopper underneath, which will unlock it, allowing all of the kelp to flow out, go up the item elevator, and then make its way into this super smelter over here. Which I might have to look at what I've done here, because there seems to be some quirks. I think I've made a mistake in some of the redstone. Remind me that I'm putting all of my stuff in this chest, because if I start looking around for my iTrade pass, my VIP room pass, a couple of diamonds, my bow, things like that, then it's going to drive me mad. This has definitely been one of the more interesting projects that I've worked on. I've actually really enjoyed it. Working on farms that are underwater, I mean, that's cool as anything. What is going on here? It's also quite strange. So this is the setup that we've got so far. I do believe that this chest here, they gradually all fill in with all of the kelp, but then all of the kelp is actually being taken out at the minute because the hopper's not locked into this dropper here, and then this is going to be our item elevator. So the redstone's going to have to go in the floor. I'm going to have to clear out the water of that one. Then all of the kelp is going to flow upwards and go into this hopper line right here. Right, so the item elevator is now all done. I forget that I can now take off with one rocket because we got the new dedicated server, so I have to be quite careful. So the redstone's down there, the items are flowing up, and they're being stored in that chest there. And actually, this item elevator doesn't need to be anywhere near as tall, because we're going into this hopper, so we can actually slim all of this down, which is quite nice. Now, I've actually been doing some thinking. I think it would be nice to have the input chests at an angle to all of the furnaces. So whereas here is very tightly packed in and we've got lots of stuff going on, if we do it in this direction, then we can have our output chest there, our kelp chest over here, and then we can have our input chest for our items on the left, and then on the right, we can have our input chest for all of the kelp blocks, which will then make their way into the two separate super smelters. I think at some point in the next couple episodes, I'm actually going to have to go out and gather up all the things that I keep buying from the shopping district. Just get stacks upon stacks upon stacks of the stuff, so I don't keep using up all my diamonds. Oh my word, I didn't even see that one coming. So he just nailed me with a trident, and oh no, I'm kind of in trouble here, because I don't want to lose my trident. And can he pick up my trident? That could be an issue. My items, literally, they've exploded everywhere. Like, it's amazing how far they go, because they float and there's no friction. They're all over the place. I'm sure some of them have gone down into the storage system of the farm. I think this thing is now working. Like, I've been up and down. I've been trying to work things out. I mean, we have hopper lines going all over the place. This is definitely escalated outside of what I was expecting it to. But we have kelp being smelted now. And that kelp is then traveling across here into this chest. We're then going to have a crafting bench, I guess, out in front of this chest, which will allow us to craft up the kelp blocks. And then those kelp blocks will be put inside this chest here, which will then split them into this super smelter and also split them into that super smelter, so that, yeah, well, you know this, okay? I've explained this a bunch, but I'm trying to get it straight in my head. And then we have a comparator coming out from this chest here, which will unlock the hopper, allowing more kelp to be passed through so that we get more fuel for the system. Yeah, I think we're okay here. I think the only way that we can really test if this works is to actually test if it works. So I'm going to dump in a whole bunch of dried kelp, and we'll get that starting with the fueling. And then I'm going to dump in a whole bunch of sand that we have, and that will all start flowing through. And activate. Now what we should see happen, that's sounding good. We should see the kelp now flowing into here. Now these have all filled up with the kelp blocks. Hopefully that's going to be enough. I mean, I'm not sure. But then these are going to flow into here. And yep, they've all started kicking into action. And then these also have their kelp blocks on the inside, which this is actually my first test of this system. So it'll be interesting to see if that's working effectively. But it looks like it is. And it looks like we are getting our glass pretty quickly, and we should also be getting more dried kelp out. So if we need to add more dried kelp into the system, then we can do that. I don't know if this idea is quite right though, because it's such a slim threshold for the amount of the amount of kelp that you get out. You kind of have to be constantly there to refill the kelp. So maybe something like my original design might actually be smarter. I don't know. I think we might just have to roll with it and see if it works for the time being. I mean, it's working perfectly now. You can see that the glass is coming out and we have loads, way more than we've had in the past, which is amazing. And then we also have the kelp coming out, but I'm constantly worried about the furnaces being starved of fuel, because I'm assuming, yeah, these ones, they're getting pretty close. They're getting very close to being starved of fuel, so we're gonna have to be constantly refilling them. Now, I thought now that we've finished up all of the furnace smelting and things, we'd actually move on to the next project, which is going to be to take down the famous mustaches dotted around my base. And I thought I'd do this in the form of a third-person time-lapse, because let's face it, it's always satisfying watching massive builds get taken down over time. But also, while we do this, I thought I'd tell you a fun story which happened this weekend, which, personally, it made me laugh, which is that, I mean, it starts off with my studio being full of rubbish. Not the best start, and it's something that's been very frustrating over the past couple of weeks. For some reason, the council, ever since we've moved into this place, and I've been here for about 2 years, the council have always been terrible at picking up our bins, and now it's been 6 weeks since they've actually come by and picked up the rubbish. So obviously it's all piling up, and we ended up having to get a private bin collection service, so we booked all of that in, and I booked it in through my Mumbo Jumbo email address without really thinking, and I'm guessing I left some form of signature with my YouTube channel on the emails, because I got an email the night before at about 10 PM just saying that, yep, they're coming by and everything's scheduled incorrectly, but I told my son that I'm going to collect your bins tomorrow, and he nearly burst with delight. He got incredibly excited because apparently he's a massive fan, and he can't believe that his parents who run this company are actually going to collect my bins, which I personally think is the sweetest thing ever, and I think it's absolutely hilarious. So I'll put a link to his YouTube, because he has a YouTube channel. I'll put a link to Charlie's YouTube channel down in the description. I think you should all go over to one of his videos and say that I sent you, because I'm sure that will make his day. So thank you for picking up my bins and getting me out of a tight spot, but also thank you for watching my videos. So there we go. The mustaches have been removed. The base is now looking clearer. It's a shame that they're gone. I am going to miss them, but I have to say, it is nice actually being able to see the base now. Like, being able to actually see it is really cool. And by the look of things, this is actually finished smelting up. And these ones, this one has run out. Or has it? No, it doesn't look like it has. So we did actually smelt up. We smelted up everything. So the system works. The system works, ladies and gentlemen. So we've managed to make a working system here after plenty of humming and hawing and faffing around. We've managed to clear out all of the giant mustaches. So I guess now we have probably, yeah, a decent amount of glass, which should help us in the future building up the rest of this sphere. So we're going to be doing that probably in the next episode. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I really do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please just hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.